Hello, it's Davey Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas, where I run the jazz guitar program. Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist, got my Sunnyside CDs, Mel Bay, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary, my improv book, and the new book is coming pretty soon. It's coming this year, y'all. Into the Labyrinth, an anatomy of position playing for jazz guitar. And I wanted to talk today about another beautiful Billy Strayhorn tune. Strayhorn is one of the great composers, I think, American composers. And I wanted to talk about the tune Isfahan. I've done, in my improv class, I do a lot of Strayhorn tunes. Sometimes I do Daydream. What else do we do? Blood Count, we've done. Isfahan. There's a whole series of beautiful tunes that he wrote. Flowers, a Lovesome Thing, Lush Life, of course. But this one is very sort of playable. Not that they're all not playable, but like a lot of these songs, they aren't really written for people to take modern jazz guitar solos on. We did Chelsea Bridge last semester as well, and I did a video on that. But this one is a real Johnny Hodges feature from the Far East Suite, one of my favorite Ellington records from late 60s, 67, I think. And I think it was originally called, according to Wikipedia, it was originally called Elf. And I guess he repurposed it for the Far East Suite, so they needed something with a Far East kind of vibe. Isfahan's a city in Iran, I guess. Never been. Someday, maybe. But it's a great tune, and I want to go through the harmonies and also point out some elements in that original arrangement that I think get left out in other versions. I really love the Joe Henderson version from the record he did of Billy Strayhorn's music. It's just a duo with Christian McBride on bass, and that's great. And some of these things, obviously, there isn't really a way that they could recreate that, but I think it's worth noting them, and when I teach these songs to students, I try to point out, like, okay, in the arrangement, there was these counter melodies and other lines, and I feel like they're important. In the same way, in Thelonious Monk's music, you'll have little elements like that. Tom Jobim's another one. You don't have to play them all every time, but it's good to be aware of them. So the tune, key of D flat, this nice little descending arpeggio. And on the original version, it goes, it's very slow, and then the trombones do this little thing. I think it's the trombone. Somebody does that. A little counter line. And like a B flat major 7, and the counter line is a little chromatic descending thing from C to A flat. So it's kind of like B flat major 7 and B flat dominant 7. You don't really know. And since Johnny Hodges is always kind of bending the notes anyway, you think like, okay, well, it's B flat major. Maybe it's major 7, maybe it's dominant 7, maybe it's somewhere in between there. So you got this. And then E flat 9. And that counterline goes. This little toggle between the flat 13, the 5th, and the 13. Kind of nice against that 9 in the saxophone, in the melody. And I love that melody there. So the chord's like an E flat 7. We've had this flat 13 down to 5th thing going on, and then the melody goes. Whatever that is, it's kind of the perfect 4th, 9, flat 7, sharp 11, down to an A major 7 chord, and the melody's the major 7 of that. So we got. So it's very, very complex, sort of contrapuntal interaction. And like I said, especially if you're playing this at a faster tempo, you wouldn't be able to incorporate all those things in there. And if you're a guitar player, which I imagine you are, many of you, it's hard to get. We only have so many fingers. But like I said, it's kind of cool to know that that was going on, and that maybe that's in the in the background of the composition of this tune. So the next part. So I guess I should go over those chords one more time. So you get D flat major 7, B flat major 7, B flat dominant, what most people play. Then E flat 7 for 2 bars. Then A major 7 for a bar. A flat 7, D flat for 2 bars. D flat major 6. Then the next part you got G minor 7 flat 5, C7 F minor. And the counter lines here, there aren't really, it's more of like it's arranged for the saxophones, kind of close harmony vibe. Although it's always cool to hear Harry Carney in there, the Barry sax, very prominent. And then it's minor 2 5 and G minor. So you have minor 2 5 to F minor, minor 2 5 to G minor. So we're getting further away from D flat. Obviously F minor is the 3 chord, but then 2/5 to the minor on the flat 5, D flat, right, and then that G minor 7 flat 5 C7 is repeated to an F major, and then one of the cool parts of this tune, very dissonant, is that Johnny Hodges, the saxophone, holds out this high C, and the chords go down chromatically from F major 9 to E major 9 to E flat major 9 to D major 9. And then it repeats. The tune's like it's a 32 bar tune, sort of A, B, A, C form. So we have this. The same counter lines. And this is my favorite part. So going into the last 8 bars, the C section. So like I said, it starts the same: D flat major, B flat major 7, B flat dominant 7, E flat 9, A major 7, A flat 7, and then instead of back to just D flat major, you get a D flat dominant, like we're going to the 4 chord. But there's this really cool sort of I can almost think of it as kind of like Black Sabbath, heavy metal baritone sax line right there. So when it goes to the D flat 7, the Barry goes. That's like as metal as you can get. Billy Strayhorn, 1967. Maybe he was the progenitor of heavy metal, the missing link, but. Or I think it's a little slower. So again, I try to put that line in there when I'm playing this tune. It's D flat. I got the 7 string so I can play it. G, so the flat 5. B or C flat, the flat 7. D flat, D. And the melody on the top is the flat 5. Then the 4 chord, but the melody's nice. It's like very dissonant. It goes back and forth from I almost feel like it's a kind of a G flat diminished to G flat. Although that's not really suggested by the harmony. To a C7, so there's this cycle of dominance. It almost reminds me a little bit of Come Rain or Come Shine, right here, the cycle of dominance in the last section. So C7 altered, F7 melody is on the C7 the melody is the sharp 9, on the F7 the melody is the sharp 11 flat 5, and then the sharp 9 again, then B flat 7. There's a little break that's really cool in the recording because it's so slow. And then this is the last part of the melody. This reminds me of a prelude to a kiss there too at the end. So you have that same melody from the beginning, but the harmony it goes to that C natural is the 13 of E flat 7, and then up to the an A flat 7 with the flat 9, natural 9. The 6. And against that you have a little line, the melody's down there, and there's a saxophone line up here on the F natural and the E flat 7. It stays on F natural, and then when the melody goes up to B flat, that F natural goes down to F flat, flat 13, and then down to the 9. So really beautiful tune, very sophisticated harmonically, a lot of chord changes, and those beautiful counter melodies and counter lines going on that, you know, I don't play them all exactly like I said, but I'm aware of them, and sometimes I'll make little references to them. And this tune it's funny too because it's in D flat, which, you know, a lot of Billy Strayhorn tunes are in D flat, and I feel like the harmony almost seems a little more complicated than it is because of the key that we're in, right? You know, if we were in C, the first part would be like C, A7, D7, A flat 7, G7, C. Like, you wouldn't be that freaked out by that, the way we maybe get freaked out in a 2-5 to E minor, 2-5 to F sharp minor. That might be a little weird. G sharp minor 7 flat 5, right? But it wouldn't, I don't know, I feel like somehow in D flat it feels a little funny, even though we play in D flat a lot. But, you know, in the second part, if it were in C, you know, you'd have C7, then you'd have F major, B flat, I'm sorry, you'd have F major to B7, then you have the cycle of dominants E7, A7, D7, G7, C. That doesn't seem as strange because somehow the key of C is, like I said, even though we play in D flat sometimes, having all those cycles and things, it feels like a little crazy, at least to me. But again, beautiful tune, and the Joe Henderson version is really great too. It's played at a little more medium clip, just with the bass. And I think people these days play the tune not as slow as the original, and I kind of do it somewhere in between. As I tend to, it seems to be what I do with some of these tunes, these ballads, is maybe not do them as fast as some people do, but not as slow as the originals as well. So I'm going to play a few choruses on this and explore some improvising ideas. You know, it's, in a certain sense, I just kind of, again, just try to hit the changes. And the progressions themselves are not, it's a very functional harmonic tune, as we talked about. You've got basically like 1, 6, 2 dominant, then 2, 5, 1 basically, although the 2 is a tritone sub, and then some cycles, minor 2, 5 cycles, that descending thing from F major chromatically, which is kind of cool. Going into the second half starts the same, but then going into the last 8 bars, you have a D flat 7, and then a little cycle, G flat major, then a cycle of dominants, C7, F7, B flat 7, E flat 7, A flat 7, D flat. And you know, all those alterations that happen in that dominant cycle on the melody, when I'm improvising, I don't feel like I have to observe those. Like, I don't have to make the C7 have a sharp 9 or the F7 have a flat 5. But, you know, I'm aware of those notes, and sometimes I'll make reference to them. Sometimes I kind of want to go my own way, so to speak, on the harmonies and choosing whether to alter the dominants. But like I said, it's a beautiful tune. I highly recommend the Far East Suite. There's a great stuff on that record. Some tunes that we don't know, that don't get played as much as Isfahan. And of course, the Queen Suite is my favorite, and I believe much of the stuff on that record is Strayhorn, though I guess Single Petal of a Rose must be Ellington's. It's his solo piece. But yeah, man, one of the great geniuses of the music, and hope you enjoy. I'm going to play a few choruses on it. Right.